With Jurassic World Rebirth right around the corner, I figured this would be the best time to actually go through and rate every single Jurassic Park film, starting from the original all the way up to Dominion. This list will not be containing any of the TV shows or novels, as I feel like those are all separate, and I have not seen any TV shows. This would be sticking to the films only, and this will be my opinion. So, of course, if you feel free to disagree, please comment down below. Continuing the Jurassic Marathon review, we will be covering Jurassic World today. And for me personally, I do have a lot of personal nostalgia and bias towards this film, but of course, for the sake of a review, that will not be factored in not until towards the end. Uh, Breaking down the film, we'll be going over the plot. The plot, I say, is overall actually quite good. It does have some flaws, but going from the park is open. This is pretty much the main gimmick of like what the marketing was. Like, the theme park was open, where Jurassic Park never got its gates open. Was Jurassic World under Masrani and Masrani Global, they opened the park. Engine's still there, but the new owner is pretty much Masrani Global. And going was limited. So pretty much since the park's been open, it's been doing quite well over the years, and they needed something new because attendance was dying down for some reason. And so in doing that, they created something new. The Indominus Rex, being a completely new dinosaur without any real not having a real genus, is a hybrid dinosaur, and with how that turns out, how this franchise is, we know how that turns out. That goes terribly wrong. Things go sideways. Of course, we are introduced to our many characters, and pretty much the main four being Zach, Gray, Claire, and Owen. Zach and Gray are Claire's nephews who came to the island to spend time with her aunts per their mother's request. Owen Grady is a raptor specialist. He's not an expert. He pretty much says he's not really much of an expert and he can't really control the animals. And Claire is pretty much a head owner of the park. She pretty much runs the park. She's not owner. She runs the park, and of course you have their different dynamics there. So pretty much was everything going wrong. Of course the park falls. It goes into shambles, and the park closes at the end. Covering that, I say it's overall good. I think the major issue, and that falls in line with the Indominus Rex. I'm not going to talk about how I feel about the Indominus Rex here, but I'm going to talk about how she was used in the plot. And overall, she was used quite well. It is just how she got out. How she got out is quite dumb because they reveal that she has a tracker in her. Well, when they thought she got out, she clawed because she leaves claw marks on the side of her cage, and in doing so, it looks like she got out. Well, they ended up going in thinking she got out somehow, even though it turns out they could have just tracked her and found out she was still in the enclosure and no one had to get in there. And that is by far like I mean, I do like this film, but I just feel like how the Indominus Rex got out is just kind of stupid. And it's not kind of stupid, it is stupid, because if you have a tracker on it, just pull up the tracker. Plus, if you look on the outside, there's no footprints on the outside. All the construction crew, everyone was just working just fine. There was no indication that she left, and plus, you probably would have already known she would have gone out a lot sooner. So, going was that. Pretty much also why the Indominus Rex was created. So the superficial reason, the not real reason, the cover reason is because the park attendance was dying. That's pretty much the reason Dr. Wu gives Claire in them is, oh well, we wanted to make sure raise park attendance. That's why they create things like the Moses stores and stuff to get people to buy tickets. The real reason is for it to be a military weapon. I don't think I have to explain how stupid it is. I haven't been in the military. I haven't served in the military, so I can't fully say. But from what I see, they don't use animals besides dogs, and that's more so for like other reasons. But like you're talking about like frontline battles is what they want. I'm sorry, how is a animal supposed to compare to a tank, a bomber, a fighter jet? No, they're not comparable. They have limitations to where machines do have limitations, but their limitations are a lot less compared to a limitation of a living, breathing creature. That's why humans make machines to lack of make up for the limitations humans have. And for that, I'm gonna give it a 8. I'm gonna say it is just as good as the Lost World. Because breaking into other factors, like breaking into the characters, I like the characters. I think all the characters are fine. I think the only one is Hoskins, but he's just kind of like your businessman who doesn't really understand what's going on. So he's going to try to force what he wants without understanding the actual implications or consequences of his actions, which of course gets shown was the Raptors when it turns out the Indominus Rex is part Velociraptor and is able to communicate with the Raptors and makes the Raptors join her side and attack humans. Besides that, he's like the only other character. Like, I like Zach and Gray. I never found him annoying. I'm a big brother myself, so I actually kind of do understand their relationship more of like a big brother, little brother. I mean, I like Claire. She goes from, it's like she doesn't care about the animals. She doesn't respect the animals because she sees them as profit because it's kind of her job was to manage the park. She just saw them as how the assets she needed to keep under control. Of course, throughout the film, we get to see her develop and grow more as a person. Of course, Owen. I'd say Owen's probably like the best character in this film because he's just cool. Like, I honestly would put him up there with Roland Timbo because he actually was kind of just cool in this film. I am not gonna deny it.
Look at this American badass right here, son. That is an American badass. He don't give a shit, son.
He wasn't like the super, oh, put your hand up to control the dinosaurs because he flat out said he can't control the raptors. He felt realistic. He wasn't Star Lord yet. He was just a man who was like a ex Navy man who was kind of forced to train a different kind of animal without really kind of understanding them, but he still did. He still managed to understand them. He was quite well written throughout the entire film because he had his limitations, and because like especially towards the end, like he wasn't sitting there like shooting down the Indominus Rex. Like he tried, but like those bullets flew off. He had to run from the Indominus Rex during the fight, and I think and again, I do like his character. I think overall, like peak Owen Grady, this is peak Owen Grady. Like I do like Owen Grady. I just don't like him after this film, but he's definitely like top 3 of my favorite characters for Jurassic Park. And going over that, um, I mean, Miss Ronnie kind of being like second Hammond because he's the Hammond who got to open his park without having to suffer the consequences of seeing his park and dream die. He didn't see his dream die. I mean, he partially did, but he died with the dream. That's unlike Hammond who lived from Jurassic Park. He died with his dream. Pretty much is what happened. So he's just kind of like a Hammond too, a modern Hammond. I think that's fine. I don't think it's terrible. Again, for what he is, he's the business owner. He's the man who wants to keep the park open. He wants to make people happy. He wants to show the world what Hammond couldn't, is what he is. He's modern Hammond, as I said. Besides that, any other main characters or like more prevalent? Like Barry is also good, but they don't ever do anything with Barry. He's just kind of like, um, Owen's like friend. I mean, he's Owen's best friend, and he's pretty much like the other voice of reason when it comes to dealing with Hoskins and the Raptors. And besides that, I mean, there's not really anyone named. There's Zara, who has a really brutal death, and I do quite like the death. It's like, oh, you can't do that to non-bad guys, but then at the same time, when none of the good guys suffer or get eaten, oh, there's no tension. It's like a lot of this film to me is just people complaining because they didn't get one thing, but then when they do get something else or something else doesn't happen, they complain. Zara's death is the perfect example of, oh, well, we want tension. We want people to get eaten. So when people get eaten, you can't do that.
Shut your.
Like, if you're going to complain about there being no tension, but then they give you something that shows everyone can be in danger, and then you complain about it, I don't know what to tell you. For me, I don't think I mean, they're animals. Like, that is sad reality is there's so many people, innocent people, who have brutal deaths, tragic deaths, and they couldn't do anything about it. Again, I think that's fine. I think her death is quite, I mean, it is over the top of it being taken by the Pteranodon, dropped into the water, dragged through the water, and then the Mosasaur just like that. But I mean, it's brutal, but I do like it. It's personally one of my favorite deaths. I mean, I don't see anyone complaining about Eddie Carr getting ripped in half by two T Rexes. Where's my Eddie Carr fans? Where's my Udesky fans? Rise up! But no, it's Zara people complain about. I don't know. I think that's just something else seems to be wrong there. Besides the characters going over the dinosaurs. Now, of course, when we think of Jurassic Park, it's the dinosaurs. It's the main theme, it's the main attraction, it's what we're brought to. Literally, it's what we're brought to. Um, I think they're fine. I mean, there's not very many practical effects. Like when we do get them, like with the Apatosaur scenes, we've seen the Indominus Rex rip and tear, um, all the Apatosaurs apart. That was quite touching, quite sad. I mean, there are some designs I definitely do not like. I think the Stegosaurus is definitely a big step back from the Lost World, and I've already talked about my feelings of the Pteranodons and Pteranodons in the Jurassic Park 3 review. I haven't mentioned the Dimorphodons. They're okay to me. I mean, they're kind of just like T-Rex. They're just, I don't know. Yeah. And of course, the big attraction is the Indominus Rex. That's the big new dinosaur, the hybrid dinosaur. The Indominus Rex is also divisive because in you get one category, people say it looks nothing like a hybrid, doesn't look monstrous enough to be a hybrid. But then you get people in the other category to say it's fine. I'm in the category to say it's fine.
Look out! I think Moto Moto likes you. Here he comes.
Because it's a hybrid, it does have the features of a hybrid. It's the weird quills, the crocodile scoots, the weird tongue and teeth, and then the 4-digit claws. I feel like there's enough there to differentiate from everything else. But, excuse me, Rebirth is a great example of, okay, so now we're going to do the whole monsters thing, but then people complain about it. Again, that's just people in general. People will ask for one thing, but then when they get it, they complain about it. Oh, if it's not exactly how they wanted it, they complain about it. It's like,
Right, so let's just stop and analyze what's just happened there.
I don't get it because you complain about, oh, it wasn't monstrous enough, but then when they do things like the mutants, you complain about it. Again, it's just I don't know. I don't know what people want. For me personally, I think the Indominus Rex design is fine. I do quite like her design. Sure, if you wanted to make a super mutant dinosaur, could she have been more like shown more traits of the different dinosaurs? I think so, considering how many different dinosaurs she was made up of. You could have definitely exaggerated her a little bit more. But besides that, I mean, I'm not asking for the ultimate source. I'm just asking for some, like, a little bit more. But besides that, I think her design was fine. The Raptor Squad, Blue, Echo, Charlie, and Delta, they're quite a core part of this film as well. Of course, we know how that ends up with sadly, with 3 of them dying. I do like them because they felt kind of more animal. Because, like, they weren't just, like, fully barbaric. It's like, oh, we're not going to listen to you. Because they still did listen to a certain degree, especially so was Charlie, who just sees Owen out in the open and he's just like, oh, hey, it's you eyes. Um, but I do like Blue and the Raptors in this film because they definitely weren't close to pet level, but they weren't on like pet level, but they were like different. They were kind of their own because they weren't like the original Raptors who were super hyper aggressive, more monstrous. Um, Not really monsters, just hyper intelligent and like oddly they just wanted their babies back. And here it's like they're intelligent, they're a little bit more monstrous, especially towards the ending, but they're loyal. They're loyal to Owen to a certain degree. They're not like super. They're not going to listen to every command because, of course, animals, as we know, especially animals like you sometimes talk about like the bigger, more wild like animals. They don't really listen to us. They sort of do sometimes, depending on how well they've been trained. But like with zoos, like sure you can get some animals in certain zoos who can be trained well and be listened to humans just fine, but then you get the same kind of animal in a different environment and oh hey, it doesn't follow the exact same commands and it barely listens. I think that it's perfectly fine for these raptors for how they were. I do like Blue. I do like all of them. I do remember. I do remember. I made a theory video saying how one of them survived for Fallen Kingdom. Turns out none of them did. Meh. Well, I think that was a mistake. But going off that, the Mosasaur, of course, um, I'm indifferent on it. I think the rebirth design is miles better than this one, but I'm not gonna say this was terrible. I do like it. I think I do prefer the Tylosaurs from Jurassic Park the game. This one. The Tylosaur design. I love the Tylosaur design. I'm not saying I don't like the Mosasaur design. I think it's just too big, but at the same time, though, it's cool. Especially that final fight. I'm gonna be honest. That final fight. Not gonna go too crazy, but I do love that final fight. I think that is the some of the best cinematography we've gotten like for a dinosaur fight in this film franchise. Of course, that's going to talk more about the next topic, but like I think it was cool, especially towards the end when you see it just lunge out the water and just grab the Indominus Rex and just drag her to the water. Like again, it's memorable. Zara's death. I mean, its first introduction to the film overall, I just don't like the crocodile scoots. I think that's just it. Because I don't know, to me it just feels like they weren't comfortable with just giving it. Oh well, it can't have nothing. It can't be just like plain skin, even though it kind of just is plain skin. We don't have any evidence to say it had crocodile scoots. But of course, knowing Jurassic Park, it isn't a complete genome of the mosasaur. They do say this in the film. This is the quote was like, well, half these dinosaurs aren't even their actual selves. We modified their genome. So it having crocodile scoots saying, oh, they mixed it with crocodile DNA, it's fine. It's whatever. It's not the biggest deal. But I do like the mosasaur. So going over all that, I mean, the Return of Rexy is a big one. Um, her design isn't as good because they desaturated her. They just made her kind of just like this gray blob of nothingness, and it just doesn't look so good compared to her original design, compared to the butt, compared to the rebirth design. Um, I think that's all for my thoughts on the dinosaurs. Going into the overall look of the film, this film looks amazing. It still looks great. The overall design, the overall feeling of this film feels great. I mean, so the CGI, I mean, does look pretty good. It's not the best CGI ever, but for like, it looks great. I mean, I'm not gonna say it looks terrible. It looks great. I mean, I think it was used too much. I think we could have definitely got more practical effects. I'm just not sure why we didn't get more. And going over some of the fights, like the final battle between Rexy Blue and the Indominus Rex that is just a core child.
This is the greatest thing I have ever seen in my life! This is amazing!
As I watched this film in theaters when it came out, I was 14. No, yeah, I was 14 when this came out. So that is just a core memory. It's just this fight. This film's 10. This film's gonna be 10 years old this year. That's crazy. So yeah, yeah, and this film is just a core memory. No, I was 11. No, I was 11. Yeah, no, this is just a core memory. This film, for me, is core memory. I mean, that final fight, the overall music is great. The music is great in this film. I mean, I can't think of a single bad track of all. Um, I think overall the pacing was pretty good. I mean, nothing total. Getting into other things what people complain about. I know people do complain about the ending where Claire runs from Rexy in high heels. What she wasn't running. Rexy wasn't running. Rexy was just walking. I thought that was clear because you just see her slowly trot along behind. And plus, the only thing I understand is it being her in high heels. But at the same time, though, we also have the scene in The Lost World where you see all the Indian hunters running from the doe. I think I don't know. I mean, just for me again, same thing. Nitpick, it's just like, oh, we're gonna pick the scene here because we don't like it here, but we're not gonna talk about the scene here. That's pretty much kind of the same. I don't know. I mean, is there really anything else? Big complaints? Get besides the Indominus Rex design. I talked about the military. I mean, the Jeep Wrangler starting up. I'm not a mechanic, so I'm not sure because I know they take the go like the buggy they found that the Indominus Rex attacked someone and use that to fix the Jeep Wrangler, but I'm not sure if that would have worked on a 22-year-old vehicle that's completely different. I'm not a mechanic, so I can't say for sure. But I mean, for me personally, I can't really think of anything else. For me, it's a solid 8 out of 10. I mean, there's like nothing with me that screams objectively bad besides the Indominus Rex. I mean, that's kind of just it for me. And going over for personal reasons, I remember just staying up late at night, early in the morning, seeing seeing the first trailer. I remember thinking that the scene where they're in the dinosaur race, I thought that was a wall, that they had a dinosaur wall, and there was a dinosaur chasing them. They used to like keep the dinosaurs out, and it was some kind of like dinosaur chasing Owen towards the wall, trying to break into the wall. I thought that's what that was. I didn't realize that was the Domino's Rex enclosure at the time. Uh, just like I just remember seeing this in theaters and being like, "Oh my goodness, this is the coolest thing ever!" Because for when you're 11 years old, yeah, this film's awesome, and I still stand by that. This is definitely the best of the Jurassic World films. I still say it's top three best Jurassic Park films. Like for when people like say all the Jurassic World films were bad, I'm like, no, Jurassic World isn't bad. Like I don't see anything that's objectively bad besides like the whole we're wanting to use them as weapons. We're wanting to the Indominus Rex, how the Indominus Rex got out. But I think there could have been something better done. They could have done something better. And I feel like that can tie into my review of Dominion because that's going to be a long video because I have so much to say about that movie. But that is my thoughts of Jurassic World. My thoughts are it's 8 out of 10. Thank you for watching my video.